This is a film study for Sam Darnold from Week 5, an unfortunate 38-35 loss to the Bucs, in that Sam Darnold played at an elite level across so many concepts and a wide variety of pass plays that Clint Kubiak asked him to execute. The unfortunate aspect of it, obviously, is that he throws an interception with 1 minute left in the game in a 35-35 tie that really ends up being the difference between being 4-1 and 3-2. So we're actually going to start here at the end. Unfortunately, like I said, it's a 2nd and 1. A little over 1 minute left, I think, when the ball was snapped. I believe Tampa Bay laid the foundation for this blitz earlier, and I'll try to explain that from a play from, I believe, the second quarter. So here's Kupp and JSN lined up down to the bottom side of the screen. So the first part of the blitz is going to be the defensive tackle slanting or stunting to their left, the top side of our screen. And then basically a two-man blitz through the B gap. So the safety, I think, is Winfield, and the inside linebacker, I believe his last name is Dennis. They're going to create a 2-on-1 with Zach Charbonnet. In addition to that, it's a great pass drop by Levante David. He's on the other side of the field, spot shadowed here in orange, and dropping out. This is what I think kind of catches Darnold by surprise, if you will, as well as the fact that, you know, there's immediate pressure on him. It's a 2nd and 1, a little over a minute left when I think the ball was snapped. Maybe it's a minute 15, and so he doesn't want to take a sack. And it's a really difficult interception to encapsulate, given how well Sam Darnold played throughout the day. I think it'd be very easy to blame him for this particular play, but I believe the Bucs saw something in the pass protection along the left-hand side of Seattle's O-line that they felt they could exploit. I don't mean a weak spot, Charles Cross or Gray Zabel, because they did a great job for most of the day. Sam Darnold was brilliant, right? Above 80% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, a real diversity of throws, no sacks, and unfortunately, like I said, his first interception since week 2. So here's what I'm talking about when I say attacking the left side of the offensive line. As Cooper Kupp, who's off screen for us, motions in, he's going to bring Winfield with him. And so Winfield is going to go on a two-man blitz with him and the inside linebacker, the will linebacker, Dennis. And it creates a 2-on-1 for Charbonnet. There's really nothing that he can do. What ends up happening functionally is you have 3 offensive linemen for Seattle on 1 defensive player for the Bucs in terms of pass pro. This, to me, the foundation for this was laid earlier. O-line basically ends up, wasting 2 guys. I'm not saying it's these guys' fault, Sam Darnold's fault. I don't know. I just know that, or I suspect, that Tampa Bay saw something in the pass pro where they felt like they could get this done later in the game and use earlier blitzes to kind of establish the foundation, or elicit a particular reaction from the Seahawks and then take advantage of it later. It's an amazing play by Levante David, 35 years old. He's playing at an elite level. I think he's got 34 tackles, 1.5 sacks already through 5 games, and Tampa Bay's off to a great start. I wanted to start the analysis there. I don't necessarily know who to blame. I think that Darnold, if given the choice there, perhaps would have either taken a sack and or tried to get the offensive line to slide in the other direction. But you can't predict necessarily what Tampa Bay or any defensive line is going to do. I think the Bucs just deserve credit there for setting that blitz up and then executing it in a high leverage moment. So moving backwards in time here, I'm generally going to spot shadow Kupp in yellow and JSN in blue and utilize my 3rd and 4th color for different players. It's a play action concept, and it's very similar to the touchdown, to Torrey Horton's first touchdown, in fact, against the Steelers in week 2, in that you have two crossers and Sam Darnold can kind of pick and choose whichever guy he wants to target. This is one of the better catches that I've seen this year, and the end zone angle will even do it more justice than this. Of course, it's Cooper Kupp diving towards the left sideline. I'll try to slow this up a little bit. The end zone angle, I think, like I said, does it more justice. It's a great throw by Sam Darnold. As brilliant as it looks here, the end zone angle looks even better. It's a 12 personnel set. If I was to have time this week, I definitely would like to produce something about the 12 personnel play action game that Clint Kubiak and Sam Darnold are using. It's having tremendous impact. I don't know what the yards per play look like, but anything that's oftentimes out of the pistol, it seems like there's an elongated mesh between Sam Darnold and the tailback, and that almost seems intentional here to me, meaning, and Ray Lewis used to talk about this, that on play action, a lot of times running backs were set a little bit deeper than normal, than they typically are, and that's to create a longer amount of time that the second-level defenders are in conflict. I'm not necessarily sure that Kenneth Walker is lined up deeper. I'm just, kind of opening your mind to the fact that that's something that occurs. But here's JSN crossing from left to right, Cooper Kupp from right to left. We know where this one goes. Amazing catch, man. For maybe the numbers aren't there in overall production, but when this Seahawks team has needed him, Cooper Kupp has been there. It's a brilliant throw, and I even want to talk about, like, from right about this angle, look at the angle that Sam Darnold really doesn't have to throw, to fit this throw over the top of the defender and then towards the sideline. Amazing stuff from early in the game. Still in the first possession, so 3rd and 13, kind of a double slant from the top side of the field. So I think that Darnold is, really just reacting or reading this nickel defender as Kupp runs a slant, and then JSN from the outside in also runs a slant on top of it. Quick recognition is the one thing I would say for Sam Darnold in this game, and pretty much all of 2015. He's been on time, he's been on target, and with the right trajectory. Just an instant read. He trusts JSN. Who wouldn't trust JSN at this point? I think he's got 34 catches on 43 targets for 79% completion percentage. Again, the comparison to Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm going to continue to bring up because of how efficient those guys are, especially in high leverage situations. So here's the defender that I was talking about a moment ago with the double slants, right? You've got Kupp on one slant and then JSN on the other. And I think that's the defender that Sam Darnold was looking at and trying to figure out who to throw the football to. Made the right choice. Unfortunately, ended up being a little bit short on a 3rd and 13 and led to a missed field goal by Myers. Moving to the second possession after that missed field goal, Tampa Bay's now taken a 6-0 lead. So 12 personnel, Trey Wright, so a different formation, and there's no option or possibility for a cover 2 here. It's a one high safety look. So when Sam Darnold drops back here and there's blitz pressure, immediate blitz pressure, it's kind of funny to me how quickly he's processing things, how quickly he's getting the ball out when there's guys in his face. And this kind of speaks to the point I was making earlier about the critical interception where they get pressure on him, where Winfield gets a quarterback hit with 1 minute left in the game. Conceptually similar blitz here, the defensive end and Winfield are exchanging rush lanes, kind of, compared to what the play in the fourth quarter, that is. Winfield actually stops his rush because he gets fronted up by the left tackle, and then the defensive end / edge defender is able to get a free lane to the quarterback. But for Sam Darnold, it's kind of like, okay, well, let me just throw this thing out here as quickly as possible. I know that it can't be cover 2. It might be press man. Just elite recognition and awareness for me. There's a free blitzer, and I'll just float it out here a little earlier than possible and pick up 10 yards. So this is what I'm talking about. I know it's a different formation and a different situation than that blitz late in the fourth quarter, but to me, this is just intuition or having watched the game now like 2 or 3 times over, 2.5 really, because I kind of skipped over some of Seattle's defense the third time. I didn't really need to see it. So similar conceptually in that the defensive tackle is crossing the guard's face, and the center, Sundell, is stepping in the opposite direction. So I feel like with the ball on the left hash, Tampa Bay had a good idea of some blitzes they wanted to run. You can see that as the defensive tackle crosses Zabel's face, this time he's trying to get to that edge defender. Remember last time, chronologically, in the way that I'm presenting this, you had 3 offensive linemen, right guard, left guard, center, all blocking one player. In this instance, earlier in the game, Zabel tries to get back out to that edge defender, can't really do so, but Darnold is processing things so quickly. He targets different areas of the field in this game with a high level of efficiency. Of course, when you're above 80% completion percentage, you're efficient everywhere. But to me, it looks like Darnold has a great command of this offense, where they want the football to go, where Clint Kubiak wants the football to go, depending on the coverage and where the blitz originates from. Still on that second possession, it's a 1st and 10, and another 12 personnel formation or personnel group, but I call it flex up. So the tight ends are up on the line, and then the wide receivers are set back so they can go in motion theoretically. So that's why I call it flex up. It appears to be man to me. It's going to be a defensive pass interference to the top side. I actually really like this throw. I think, first of all, that Sam Darnold gets through his reads pretty quickly, or where he's progressing. So he appears to be looking down here to the bottom side of our screen first, comes back, and look, he's already pulling the pin to get rid of it. JSN's, quote, not open against man-to-man. It's not like there's separation. But I feel like he's throwing the ball out in front with a trajectory and an angle that kind of removes the corner from being able to make a play, meaning he didn't loft it on an angle further down the field. And I could be wrong there. Other people, if I were you, I would look at quarterback analysis from a whole bunch of people. I wouldn't consider me to be an expert. In my opinion, Sam Darnold seems to have an understanding of the coverage and then where he can go. Okay, I don't have this, looking to his right, the bottom side of our screen initially. Let me go over here to JSN because, he makes plays pretty much on every snap. Still on that second possession, after the DPI, it's a 2nd and 12. I think there's a tackle for loss here on a run play. But in any case, there's going to be a later developing in route by JSN, and it's incomplete. Maybe it's a drop, whatever you want to call it. Sam Darnold is looking down here initially, and there's a safety basically sitting in a too-high safety structure for Tampa Bay. This is the route that Sam Darnold wants and actually, chooses to throw it to. I know there's been some people say, he threw that one behind him. I think it's intentional. I think he's throwing it behind JSN to protect him from this oncoming safety. It makes it a tougher catch. Yes, that's the dynamic, or I guess the balance that you play there in doing so. I think he, like I said earlier, trusts JSN as well he should. Quickly looking down here, the safety that I'm talking about, I believe that is Winfield. These jerseys for Tampa Bay, don't get me wrong, they do look cool, but especially from the all-22 angle, there's times where it's really difficult to pick up the numbers. So this is what I'm trying to explain. With the ball being located on this side of JSN, rather than throwing it out in front, I think he's saving his guy from a big hit. And I don't know what other people have said. I'm not saying I would cede to their judgment, but take what I say in balance or in consideration with how others have analyzed it as well. Call it a drop if you want, but I think Darnold's making the catch tougher because of the defense that's being played. Essentially, his option for where to throw the football has been whittled down or narrowed, and I think Darnold made the right choice. Third possession here, it's a 1st and 10. They're down 6-0 at this point, so it's 12 personnel, and this is a really nice job. This is a 12 personnel group. Like I said, Barner is the tight end down here to the bottom side. So the route structure on the bottom side, JSN's kind of running a seam vertical, and then Cooper Kupp at the top side of the screen is running a comeback. Play action, again, out of 12 personnel. And so the blocking scheme is basically faking F counter. Zabel is pulling. The tight end on a run play would pull and wrap and lead. But here he's stepping in that direction and then veering back to the backside, the top side of our screen. Sometimes he'll block. Sometimes he'll release a little bit late. They ran the same thing last week. Basically, fake F counter is what I like to call it. So quickly gotten from his read 1 to 2, basically. And now the interesting thing is the first part of the read is JSN at the bottom side of the field, and then immediately back up to Cooper Kupp at the top. Doesn't feel like he can throw the ball to either guy. Maybe there's an angle to get it to Cooper Kupp here. I would suspect that maybe those guys have talked about that, but there's a safety kind of squatting or sitting on that. And so he moves out to the right, finds Barner, somewhat similar to the touchdown that I'll show you here in a little bit. Ends up being a gain of 10 yards. In structure, playing well, on time, right? Delivering the football where he should. But then this is obviously out of structure. I don't think Barner's the primary here at all. Same play from the end zone angle. Zabel is pulling. Tight end is faking like he's going to follow Zabel on an F counter play, and then he'll peel back to our right-hand side of the screen, his left, from the Seattle offense perspective. There's the play fake. You can see the tight end peeling back. Sometimes he'll sit and block on the edge defender, but Tampa Bay actually drops both edge defenders. So 43, I believe, is dropping there, and I think this is 98 on the right-hand side. Both OLBs dropping out. Darnold went through the JSN read, chose not to, elected not to deliver the football to Cooper Kupp, fine, and then scrambles out of here. Here's Barner going to run onto that open space. The outside linebacker, in this case for Tampa Bay, it obviously hurt them that he dropped out. The very next snap, unfortunately, was Jalen Milroe's fumble on a speed option to the left. If you're not familiar with the option game and how to tell if someone is actually an option team, do they? And of course, Seattle's not, right? Who is in the NFL at this point in time? No one. If you run the option consistently, you practice left-handed pitches all the time. And so for him to be running that to his left, it's a little concerning to me. If it were me, I'd want to run it to the right. It's more predictable because presumably Jalen Milroe, since he throws right-handed, is a right-handed quarterback, or is a right-handed person, like 83% of the population is. So when you scout or when you look at film of teams, try to figure out, are they actually an option team? I'm talking about like the high school level or even maybe college. Do they pitch the ball left-handed? Do they run pitches to the left? Because if they don't, then they're not practicing that drill every day. So that play call I'm a little critical of. I don't know about how you feel about it. Feel free to let me know in the comment section. All right, fourth possession here, late second quarter. It's a 3rd and 4. And this is an awesome double pump. It's going to be complete to Cooper Kupp here. This is tough, if you ask me, because Kupp, there's a lot of contact, number one. Number two, Darnold kind of pump fakes this a little bit here. I'm not sure, what he's thinking as far as the pump fake. To me, it looks like it's all going to Cooper Kupp. So trying to maybe get the ball out earlier, holds it, and then brings it back to Kupp. Great catch, second great catch of the game, in fact, by him, in this case with a defender dragging all over him. That's critical, right? You're down 13-0. There's about 1:20 or 1:15 left in the second quarter at the time. Down 2 scores, and you're able to hold on to the football and, of course, go get a touchdown. Nice job here by Charbonnet of picking up the outside linebacker on the left-hand side after the tight end chips. And I feel like if Charbonnet's not involved there with picking up that outside linebacker, then Sam Darnold potentially could have an issue, in that the inside linebacker's on a delayed blitz. And if we're not getting the ball out quick here like Sam Darnold is, and I'm using this to illustrate how well I think he's playing, you got a real issue if the OLB isn't picked up by the running back and Sam Darnold's not so quick in making his reads. I'm not saying that the offensive line's not playing well. My point is you can rely on Sam Darnold to get the ball out on time despite pressure, and even if there's not much of a window there between, I think it's Dennis and Vita Vea. They drive down there to get the touchdown to JSN here, which I believe closes them to 13-7. Still on that fourth possession, and this is to illustrate how many weapons there are on this offense and how Sam Darnold trusts pretty much all of them. So that's Elijah Arroyo lined up against Levante David down on the bottom side of the screen, the backside of a trips formation. It's basically 2-man by the Bucs, 2 high safeties. Man for everyone else. I've got Arroyo and David in yellow because to indicate, that's where the football goes. Darnold initially looks to the top side really quick to the trips, perhaps to Cooper Kupp, and then comes down here to the bottom. Easy completion. Why? Because Arroyo is so physical. I mean, him and Levante David are in contact with each other, and you can see that creates that space for Darnold to throw the football onto. Cool moment, if you ask me, relying on the rookies. John Schneider did a great job, man. In this draft, getting Darnold so many weapons, but leading off by taking an offensive lineman in Gray Zabel. So this is a touchdown to JSN. 2nd and goal, late second quarter. Like I said, it should say Bucs lead 13-0, not 13-7. JSN lined up in the backfield, which I really love in terms of this concept. So the way that this is working out, right, you got a safety sitting to that side. It's a 1 high safety structure. But Barner's route is going to fit basically somewhere between this E and the A in Seahawks. But really, I think he's designed to bring this route between the inside linebacker and the safety. And then Cooper Kupp kind of running this fake China in or whip route and then returning it back to the sideline. JSN delayed. Everything is very well timed up here, if you ask me. The safety is here kind of sitting on top of Barner's route just enough, just for a moment. He's got to honor that a little bit for Sam Darnold to be able to get this ball out. Touchdown to JSN really quick. I think when the ball is snapped, there's like 12 or 14 seconds left in the half. Maybe when the ball was snapped, it's as much as 18. But critical to get the ball out there quick. Can't take a negative yardage play. Like I said, Seattle closes to 13-7. Able to double up here early in the third quarter. This is a 2nd and 5. One of the best plays of the year from a Seattle standpoint, and there's been a lot offensively. They're getting they're very efficient, and they're getting a lot done offensively on a weekly basis. 12 personnel, which has been a great platform for Clint Kubiak. It's a play action. It's Derek Young. This is his 4th career catch, and for Sam Darnold to make this throw, moving to his left, and he'll have a defender, closing down is truly remarkable. Derek Young is being interfered with, being held. I think there's actually a penalty called on the play with the defender in his face. I don't know what the degree of difficulty is on this throw, but it looks incredibly high to me, and Derek Young makes it happen. Makes it actually look really smooth, in my opinion. 4th-year receiver. I'm sure Seahawks fans know that, but at this point, Lions and Ravens fans often cross over and watch my videos on other teams, which is really cool. 4th-year receiver, 4 career catches, and for Darnold to make this throw with that guy against, I think that's Zion McCollum, but I might be wrong. Just tells you that when you're hot, when things are going great, you just keep on riding it, and that's what Sam Darnold's doing right now. Same play from the end zone angle, 12 personnel, like I said. Tight end in motion, faking the pitch. And then this is the edge defender. I think it's Diaby, who's going to pressure Sam Darnold, moving to his left as a right-handed quarterback to find this route. The first time I saw this late Sunday night, I thought that it was too high. Look at the contact from the edge defender. I mean, as he's releasing the ball, Darnold ends up on the ground. This is sick. If it's Madden or NCAA football, and a guy like Derek Young, with his level of production in the NFL in his career or college for this comparison, makes that catch, you're really pissed off. But as a Seahawks fan, I'm sure you were, up in arms with excitement. Two more here from the second half, early third quarter. I think it's tied 21 all here, and it's a jumbo personnel group. So you've got a sixth offensive lineman reported eligible, Barner, and then Arroyo. And I like the concept. A cheat play. So Charbonnet is moving to the downside of our screen, the right-hand side of the offense immediately, and the quarterback is reverse pivoting. I call that a cheat play because the quarterback and the running back are flowing in the same direction, but they did not mesh, obviously, at all. Arroyo on the backside here is running the hide concept underneath, and then a great job of identifying Barner running across. This isn't playing out of structure like the completion of Barner earlier, because this is obviously the design of the play. This is just Sam Darnold being patient and understanding what he's got within the structure of the play. Puts Seattle up 28-21. Finally, the touchdown pass to Horton. I think his third so far this year on a 4th and 2. Game situation is tied up 28 all. It's cover 3, and I think the downside corner, Zion McCollum, just hedges in too far with JSN's route. A little bit of a play action with Charbonnet, although it doesn't really sell anyone. You can see how Tampa Bay drops out into a cover 3 here. And then McCollum is kind of pointing to JSN now, but I think he hedges in way too far for that. And it just opens up all of this field for Horton to run onto. Like I said, 4th and 2, I mean, the game situation, but I try to put as much information on screen as possible for Darnold to make this play with the defensive end in his grill right now, and then a second player converging on him is it just tells you how well he's playing right now. To me, you're looking at a great acquisition for the Seattle Seahawks so far through 2025. I know the contract, has some flexibility. To me, Seattle knows what they have to do long term. They got to keep this guy and Clint Kubiak around as long as possible. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. I tried to keep it light on filler, I guess I should say, in terms of commentary, and just let the plays speak for themselves along with my evaluation of it. If you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at Sam Darnold in Week 5, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.